All right, so new GB has started. This one is open closed. This is my first game. I've decided to try and record all my games, and we'll see how it goes. Didn't sleep great last night, so we're already off to a good start. All right, so let's look at our hand. I have a 6 up and very little else, so I'm going to have to be very careful about using the 6-3-1-6. I'm quite good to the right. I am little iffy going down, though importantly my 7 can overpower anything he has. So the 2-1-7-5 also likely an important card to hold on to. I also notice he has 2 6s to the right, and the 5-1 on that card could play well. Leftward, probably okay leftward. His hand looks like he has a 6 in every direction but to the left where he peaks at a 4. Which could potentially mean I have safety somewhere, but I don't actually seem to. Either way, we'll be reacting to whatever he does. I think Yevons had a reasonable start to this GB. I watched his game where he tied against Turds earlier, though Turds did miss a win there. And Yevon is a good player. I'm going to look at his stats because, wow, over twice as many wins and losses. And played a lot more games. Nice results, and was the finalist of TTAC 3. Could be thinking here about what I'd do if I was him, but, you know, I'd probably chuck something that was uncomfortable for me to take. Not sure what that would be, because anything like 4-6-5-3-1 or 6-5-4-1-7, if I just flip it from above or below, they have no recapture. Though maybe getting the 6-3-1-6 out of my hand could be very much worth that. What else is going on? A lot of people have been loving these side starters with planned high number recaptures, and I don't think they're very good. So I would love him to have a hand that naturally leads to one of those, but I don't think this one does. So I'm expecting probably a weak corner starter. Maybe directing the game a little towards the direction he wants it, which is probably down right. But also I want the game to be a bit down right, so maybe not. Just chuck something in 5. Okay. So the obvious play now is 2-6-3-6 in either 2 or 8. Because how bad can that be? 2-6-3-6 is an incredibly powerful card against 6s and 7s. But there are very few 7s here, and they're not the 7s that it plays well against. So it's probably better as a sweeper on the top row if needed later. Could be a sweeper on the bottom row too. So I have some desire to hold on to that. I got 2 7-5 corners for the same corner. It'd be nice to get rid of one of them. I do have the recapture in 2, and they don't if I played one of them in 1. So that could be an option. Maybe even better would be playing one of them in 2, with the point that 2-1-7-5 and 3 is a fully safe recapture if they attack it. And if they don't attack it, maybe I can play safely next to it in 1, though I don't think I can. Cactuar covers me pretty well. Again, I do think 2-6-3-6 is the kind of straightforward thing to do here. Very logical. But I just think that's going to be safe at any time I want it to be. Like, if I play in 2 and they play in like 7 or 9, I can drop that in 8. And I think that's a better situation than one where I start in 8 and then play in 2 after. Or I think it might be. And I also don't particularly want the game to be up-down, because I think they're a little better up-down. Cactuar is really strong, and the 7-down is very strong, rather than left-right, where the 4-6 cards aren't very good. So there could be an argument for just making a move to direct the game, not particularly putting any specific pressure on them, but just saying I'm making the game left-right. And that's leading me to something like 3-7-5-3 and 4. Because I can build off it. I can play 2-7-5-4 in 1 or flip which card I use. and it's uncomfortable for them to take from 7. They can do it, but it's uncomfortable. So I see some hope there. That seems like it could be a promising idea. And they don't have a good way to just take it, which is often a nice way to react, is just go, okay, you had your fun, I'm just going to take it. But I really like the look of 3, 7, 5, 3, and 4. That's really appealing to me. Valuing directionality more than immediate safety. And note, they only have one card they can put in 1 that I can't just combo. I also notice 6, 2, 6, 3, and 6 would not be safe for them. They could combo my only capture, though. But it does use up all their up power, so I kind of like this. I think I want the game to be side to side. This is a slightly offbeat decision for me, but I really like intending to build out here with 2, 7, 5, 4, and 1. It's a shame it uses the card that combos their 6, 2, 6, 3, and 7, but it is, I think, a real threat they have to be pretty worried about. And it makes a bunch of their cards play worse, and I think my 2, 6, 3, 6 is going to have play the whole game. There's just never a point where that's not going to be a quite powerful card. So I'm hopeful this is a good move. I think it was interesting. We're trying to think a bit like Delhi here, because Delhi is very good at seeing which cards will play later in the game and how they match up with the opponent's hand, and also good at seeing this card is very good now, but I don't need to use it here. I can use it later. So we're trying to play a move maybe Delhi would for once be proud of me for playing. Okay, so potential problems. If they flipped my card in 4 from 1 and I comboed back, everything would be my color. And if they could ever combo 6, 5, 4, 1, that would just be game over. So it was pretty important that they have trouble setting up against that. And I think they do, because I think they can set up to have an 8 threat there playing in 9, but they cannot set up to have a 6 threat. And so I think I would have time to block. But I could see some line where they go something like 4, 6, 5, 3, and 1. I combo in 2, and they hit me with 4, 6, 4, 4, and 9. And 8 is suddenly just this devastatingly big threat. Maybe not there because my plus wall didn't overpower. So maybe it has to be something like... maybe there's no sequence that does it. But I could imagine a scary sequence like that. I don't think they have it here, but it's not something I checked too well on my turn. Alright, looks like they've picked up Cactuar, so I'm expecting them to put it in 6. Where my kind of automatic move is 2, 7, 5, 4 in 1. One thing I really like is 6, 3, 1, 6, if we get into a Z formation, would be safe in 8. They'd have no captures from 8 if they use Cactuar here. So I was really hoping to draw Cactuar out of their hand with this, and I think maybe I've succeeded. That's the dream, anyway. We'll have to be precise on our next move, but I think should be pushing to win this. I think our hand is better than theirs, and they have difficulty dealing with our threats. And I also think 5 starters are not great in randoms. Oh, they take. Okay. So I only have the 1 recapture. Notably, it is a combo. Notably, they could combo back if I wanted to recapture from 7. I actually didn't check that very well, and I really should have. I just assumed I had my safe move in 2, and I got this key card out of their hand, and that would be really powerful. I still kind of think that. You know, I'm going to be up 6-4. Their card isn't technically locked in 4. My 6-3-1-6 still really looks good in 8 if like a Q comes up. So I think their idea is to go in 7. They're trying to build out. So I go 2, 7, 5, 4, and 2. They go in 7. Because 5 is mine, potentially they set something up. But 4, 6, 4, 4 is their only safe play in 7. It's really hard for them to not go safely there if they want to do much. And then I have safety in 8. And they're going to really need to line the cards up well to tie there. For instance, if they go 4, 6, 5, 3, and 9, I can go 2, 1, 7, 5, and 3, and their 3, 3, 7, 4 has no captures at the end. So that's looking really promising. There is the question, do I actually need my 2, 6, 3, 6 here? It's a great card, but do I need to hold on to it? And I kind of think I do. Kind of think that's worth holding on to. Yeah. So I'm going to use 2, 7, 5, 4, and 2. Should just really make sure that I want to use the 2, 7, 5, 4 rather than the 2, 6, 3, 6. All right, what if they go, instead of going in 7, they go in 3? My 6, 3, 1, 6 can capture anything they'd put in 3. That's going to put me up 7 to 3. And my 2, 6, 3, 6 is great on the bottom row. That also would be safe in 8 in a lot of circumstances. Yeah, it's really hard to imagine this is not the card I want to use here. So what's interesting that they could do? 3, 3, 7, 4, and 7 is the only move there that sets up the big threat in 8, but I just take it. And my cards have enough variety, I don't actually have to check that closely if they can combo stuff, because I'm always going to be able to put out different outfacing numbers, and my leads in a lot of these lines get big enough. I think it's pretty safe. So I feel like this should be winning, though, sometimes there's miracle ties. Importantly, I still have 6, 6, 3, 1, 6 for 7, so they never have the miracle tie in 8, which is, of course, very rare anyway. I don't think they ever have a miracle tie in 6 here. I just have 2 powerful sweepers on the bottom row. So 3, 7, and 9 are the squares I'd be looking at. I think I've refuted 7 correctly. I think I've refuted all moves in 3. It's just really hard for me to imagine 6, 3, 1, 6 isn't game over. Yeah. And so we're left with 9. Interesting moves in 9 include 4, 6, 4, 4. But it doesn't set them up for 6. And so I figured, given that I have safety in 9, that's very unlikely to be dangerous for me. And 2, 1, 7, 5 in 3, and actually neither of their remaining cards have any captures in 6 there. So I think this is an opening win. I get why they played a center starter, but I think I reacted really well here. And maybe somewhere out there, Deli is proud of me. So this GB is going to be scored like the last GB, which I didn't make any videos about, but I mentioned a few times in some of my closed videos that have probably come out by now, where I ended up coming second. It was an all-closed tournament. Turds played great. He came first. I think a number of players played clearly better than I did. I got very lucky with my first turn distribution. I've been looking at some stats for first, second turn on closed, and this won't surprise anyone, but first turn has a very large advantage in closed combo. So I think I was really lucky to finish there. Okay, we got to think. Okay, interesting. They set up 6, but not 8. Totally missed this. Now, their setup in 6, they can't take immediately. That's interesting. My 2, 1, 7, 5 really kills them on the backswing, I think. So if I just go 2, 6, 3, 6 in 8, if they go in 7, they can't capture anything. I can play 6, 3, 1, 6 in 6, and they have no captures, so I win by a lot. If they go in 3, I just block 6, and we win again. So the only thing they can do is go in 6, specifically with 4, 6, 5, 3. And this is why this is the move I'm drawn to. I suspect there are a lot of winning moves, but I want the one that forces. I want the one where they have to do this, and I can just check that. I can play 2, 1, 7, 5, and 3. That flips the card in 2. That flips the card, because they've comboed everything. That flips the card in 2, that flips the card in 1. Thus, that flips the card in 4, which flips the card in 5. I've also flipped the card in 6, 9 flips, 8 flips. I think I win that 9-1 on second turn, which would be pretty cool. So I think they cannot take that. And then because I'm going to be able to play next turn safely in 6, I'm going to win 7-3. And score matters. And I doubt I have more than a 7-3 win here. So I should double check. But plus wall is on. Yeah, I think this is a 7-3. One thing about this rule set is it is half open, half closed, and it's random which one you get. So I think some people made the point in the last GB you were allowed to play either closed or you could be half and half. And I think Delial pointed out first, you can work really hard, play a really good open game, and win 6-4. And, it takes a while, it takes a lot of effort, and you maybe get a 5-5 or a 6-4. You get lucky in a closed game, that's an 8-2, that's a 9-1. If points are what matters, you're getting, so many more points for doing well in closed than you are in open. And this GB is even shorter, so variance is going to matter more. Someone who has some extraordinarily good results, it's more likely for that to happen because it's easy to have a short, really good run in a, smaller time frame. So I think closed is the place where points can really be racked up. And if I can get some wins bigger than 6-4 in open, that's going to be fantastic for my chances. Because while I think I'm a good closed player, my advantage in this tournament is going to be in open. And so hopefully grabbing some bigger wins in open will be available. Because if you get 5-5s and 6-4s, you win half your games, you tie half your games. That is a fantastic record. 5.5 would not have been enough per game to win the last GB. And this GB is going to have higher winning scores per game because a shorter tournament is going to have higher variance. So they go in 7, and I can take the 7-3. Whew. Gonna put that in the chat. Or I'm not supposed to send until I finish my matchup, so I save that, put it in a folder somewhere, and I'm ready to go with it later. Cool. Alright, good first game. I might have a second game ready to go. So we'll see, because it would be cool if I could stick multiple games in one video rather than making a million videos. I think Reddick was the other one who wanted to play me. He is in a game. I think Yevon's try in 9 was reasonable. I suspect the opening move probably wasn't losing, but probably had to hold on to Cactuar. I think the move in 1 was the losing mistake there. That would be my guess. I didn't see any saves for them after that. And we will wait a little to see if there's another game rather than cut off the video, but if I don't get one in another minute or two, you will be spared the dead time. And if you see there's 2 minutes left on this video, I highly suggest ending it now, because nothing's going to happen. But if the video keeps going, then, I got another game. Level 3 random is kind of interesting. A lot of the cards like are kind of, 5, 6, 4, 5, right? Something that doesn't have particularly high... Sorry if the volume just shot up there. Something that doesn't have particularly high power, either in like... and has no plus wall ability. And so you see some cards that are 6/6/3/2s or 6/3/6/2s that are very strong. And you see some 7/5 corners that play pretty well. And you see other cards that are just kind of a mess. And so I think it is a sort of tricky level to play randoms. But also, there's little plus wall potential outside of targeting 6s. And occasionally 7s, but there are a lot more 6s running around than 7s. And that has some interesting ramifications too, that it is a more same and plus oriented game. And that means there's going to be a little more safety to be found if you have those big numbers. Okay, apparently I'm supposed to set up. I'm not actually sure what the rule set is, so I should check the pinned message. Open, close, private game, same, plus wall. This is fascinating to watch, I'm sure. Random combo, 5 minutes, level 3. Not all decks. Specifically, he wants 8, 9, 10. I'm going Chrono Trigger, Xenogears, and Tactics. Cool. And we're going to be playing Reddick next. Let's see how soon we'll have a game. Oh, it's going to be a while. Well, that's frustrating. Oh, maybe not. Maybe Ruffles will time. Thanks, Ruffles. Appreciate it. Alright, got a game much quicker. Second turn closed, where everyone wants to be. So I mentioned earlier I'd run some stats. I went through only trade games and only high level. So it should be said, like, level 9 and 10 do play differently than lower levels. I would not expect the exact same numbers to hold up on lower levels. And also, this was all trade games. And all trade games usually means it's a high level of closed play. You know, we get a bunch of games from Seto, a lot from MC, a lot from Addy. You know, some really good closed players. And, you know, the other players, Wavy, Blizzard, who else is playing closed these days? Ming-Hu Ha, Butters. You know, it's a really good field of closed players. And you look at the results and you see open wins about twice, first turn wins about twice as much as second turn. And that puts second turn in a difficult place. So, you know, it has long been thought second turn's a big disadvantage, but actually looking at the numbers, it's not great being second turn. You want to draw those first turns. My general belief is this turn should be spent on maximum synergy. I have the plus wall in 8. That gives me a little more incentive to go somewhere like 2 or 1 or 3 to set the game so that I can hold on to that plus wall for as long as possible. I sort of like the look of 5, 6, 2, 4, and 3. It is pretty weak, but it gives me this really nice plus in 2. I often look to challenge a little more, make something a little harder for them to take than that. I'd like to get the 4, 4, 4, 5 out of my hand because that card sucks. Do we have a good way to do so? Yeah, I can put that in 1, and then I have the plus on both sides, 2 and 4, and one of those sides locks it in. And I keep open 6, 3, 2, 5 for 8. Now, there's a fair chance they play an 8 next turn. But if they do, I definitely can't feel bad that they've gotten the Cactuar out of their hand, because that card's great up and down. So I think I don't need to get the worst card out of my hand because I'm on second turn. But this just looks like a nice synergy move to me that also happens to get this card I really don't want out of my hand. happy to have won my open game. I have been doing very well in open so far. I think there have sort of been 5 players, 6 players maybe, that have really excelled in open since the return, and I've been very happy with my level of play. I think between me and Delial, if you combine all our games in open, we have a grand total of 20 wins to 1 loss. Maybe more because I missed some of Deli's games. So pleased with how the dream team is showing. So their most likely squares to go in are 6, 8, or 9. There are some players who really like to go in 2 or 4 here, and there are others who really like to go in 3 or 7. I think 2 and 4 are sort of more interesting. 3 and 7, just it gives me a free square, and maybe I can't play around 5. Maybe I don't have that safe a square, but I kind of have the feeling. Okay, so they make the traditional move. So my 5, 6, 2, 4 is pretty sweet in a lot of squares right now. The only square I don't have at all is 6. I mean, I do have the captures, but I don't have anything fancy to put there. And given that I don't need 2, 6, 7, 1 anywhere else, I'm kind of tempted just to play that in 6. If they take it from 3, I can take a 7 without flipping 5 with 4, 4, 2, 7. I can take a 6 without flipping 5 with 6, 3, 2, 5. I only have to flip 5 on exactly a 4. If it's a 3 or less, I don't have to flip 5. So it's really easy for me to lock cards in there. If they go 8, there is a good chance they're vulnerable to some kind of combo using the card in 5. I don't want to allow an X here, and I do want to leave open squares I think I have really good combo potential in. And that is drawing me towards 2, 6, 7, 1, and 6. I'm not super confident about it, though. I was thinking maybe 4, but anything I do in 4 has to flip 5, and I don't think I want 5 flipped at the moment. So I'm going to go 6. Have I been saying 4 when I meant 6? I'm not sure. But I've been considering 2, 6, 7, 1, and 6, and I think this is my move. I could also play it in 8, but I don't have the same side up-down coverage as I do side-to-side. I'm expecting a Q here. I think they probably have a good way to lock it in. That would be great if they only had like a 7 to the right, because then they'd be incredibly vulnerable to combos on Cactuar. So on second turn, basically half the time you lose in close combo, and the other half you split basically evenly between win and ties. It doesn't exactly work out like that, but and my numbers, I haven't looked at a million games, but I did look at 300, which is quite a lot of trade games. And over that sample, it didn't quite end up this way, but after the first 100 games I looked at, it was actually exactly 50% first turn wins, 25% ties, 25% second turn wins. So you're very close to an even split of, if you are on second turn, tying or winning is a good result. If you are on first turn winning is a good result. That of course doesn't mean you'll win every game, but every game you win is a good result. Every game you fail to win is a poor result if you're running about evenly with the field. And so I would be very happy to get out of this game with a tie or better. Obviously, to do well in this tournament, you have to win some games by large, or it's very likely you'll have to win some games by large margins. And so I do, there is some reason to take risk, but I think there's much more sense in taking risks with first turn in closed, because it's so easy, much easier for you to spike something, and it is harder for you to spike the big wins taking big risks on second turn. And most 8-2s and 9-1s and all that are for the second turn player. All right. So the obvious move to do is 4-4-2-7 in 3. What I really like about this move is if they go in 7, I can play in 2. I don't have to flip 5. I can play 6, 3, 2, 5, and 2, and I guarantee a tie. I think that probably will just be a tie, but as I said, I am happy to tie. If they go in 2, I can specifically play not 5, 6, 2, 4, but 6, 3, 2, 5, and they can't combo back anything. So I think going in 3, I can't lose. I feel really good about that. The only way I can lose is if they take it, go up 6-4, I combo back, and they happen to have a combo on Abyss Worm, which they can have no reason to have prepared. And even then, it has to work out the right way. So that seems very safe to me. I could also play 4-4-2-7 in 2. And that is pretty safe as well. If they go in 8 or 7, I might have to go 3 and accept the tie. But that's a pretty safe way to a tie. There's not going to be the same kind of safety going in the bottom squares. So the question is whether I play 2 or 3. And I think 3 puts more pressure on them. But I think they're very likely to go in 7 there. Well, if I go in 2, maybe they go in 3, and I have better winning chances. I'm going to go in 3, though. I think there's an argument for 2, and maybe a better player would go in 2. It feels very loose to me, but I guess there's not much risk to it. As said, the risk kind of on both is that my 6, 3, 2, 5, and 8 just happens to set them up for a combo back on Abyss Worm, and the numbers happen to work out very exact ways. But I'm going to have the cards in 6, 9, and 5 for sure. And the question is, do I get anything else in those lines? But I think, yeah, we're just going to angle for a tie. Interestingly, that didn't show a capture on 8, so they very likely do have a capture of 8. Now, here's the place where we can think, do we want to take big risks this tournament? But I don't, especially so early when I had a good starting game. So I'm just going to take the tie here. Very happy with ties on second turn. And enclosed. Not going to complain about that. They almost certainly have it. They haven't shown any cards that could recapture their card in 9, and it's just very unlikely to have played that unless they have a way to recapture it. So this is definitely a tie, right? It would just be a really weird move to make when they could have played, anything else there. They also haven't showed how they could recapture it from 6. So I am sort of assuming that their last card recaptures it both ways. Which might have meant it was worth gambling on 8, because what are the odds that it covers both those squares and was good in 2? But the odds are decent. I'm very curious what their last card is. Because the 2 cards they've shown since playing in 9, the cards in 4 and 7, kind of have nothing to do with the play in 9. So they just didn't have the recapture in 6. Very interesting. Good thing I didn't call the bluff. They did have 2. But they didn't have 6. That's a very interesting thing about Reddick's play. Alright, so we win game 1, we tie game 2, and I think I will cut the video there, but I'm going to try to record all the games I play for this GP. Yeah, I think that will make an interesting series of videos. Cheers.